Welcome to the Renovating Riches podcast. Entrepreneurs from Houston teaching you everything they know about entrepreneurship and real estate with the best guests in the real estate industry. Subscribe today on all major platforms and gear up for another episode of Renovating Riches.
Welcome to Renovating Riches Radio again with Mr. Marcos Jacober, who's we're just following up on the last episode. And anyways, let's pick it right where we left it. You were talking about, you see, this is what I love about it. This is unscripted. This is we're just here chatting, and he just gave us
brainstorming.
Yeah, right? He just gave us a great idea on how to find motivated sellers that are already lost their properties.
Yes.
It's more technical than that. So he was just explaining that from county to county is different, from state to state is going to be different. So there's a lot more moving parts when it comes to redeeming or buying the redemption or buying the property itself. For that, you need to hit him up, and he'll probably be able to guide you in the right direction. You still have your tax deeds and tax liens course out there, right?
Yes. So if you guys want more information, I posted a tons of free content online.
Okay.
So you can go to marcosjacober.com, or you can look at Instagram, Deed Hunter, under Deed Hunter.
Okay.
Right, Deed Hunter. That's my Instagram handle.
That's a pretty good name. I like
Deed
that
Hunter.
name. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a new book that's coming out now.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna call it Deed Hunters. So basically, the premises of the book, I'm gonna share a lot of information, a lot of deals that I have done. I have bought properties for $31. My best case scenario is my best case study is a property that I picked up for $6,342.79 in Montgomery County, and it's worth $1.7 million now. So those are gonna be in the book. And why are you shaking your head, man? And what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna interview everybody that took my program and took this to the next level. And with that, we're going to create every single one of the students became a deed hunter, basically. And they're going to write one chapter of the book with their story, how they started, with their best case and all that. So just look it up. By the end of the year, deed hunter.
Well, the beauty of what Marco knows is that it's not as easy as wholesaling, right? So wholesaling is find a motivated seller with a house, put them under contract, flip the contract, you make a profit. There is a lot more work to be done when it comes to tax deeds and tax liens.
100%.
So this is not for the lazy, number one.
Yes.
This is not for the getting rich quick, next week. Maybe you can strike gold, right? If you find the right
Well,
deal.
I never thought I was going to buy a property that's worth $1.7 for $6,000. But as you play the game, you find some treasure. So what I like about what I do is it's a combination of Indiana Jones, CSI, and Monopoly.
Yeah.
Right? So if you ever come across to a county list, don't write a check until you go through the 8-step process so you can eliminate 98% of the risk. Right? You have a better chance playing Roulette then going to find the list, because they're online, they're all over the place, and writing a check, right? Please don't do that.
We did have, when we were in Rosenberg, a lady that showed up one time, bought a house at the courthouse. You remember that one?
I don't remember the details, but I remember when she came, and I was like, oh my God, you did what?
Yeah, so she thought she bought a tax deed or a tax lien or whatever, and she paid a ton of money, and then somehow she was getting foreclosed on it, but I don't know.
I can't remember
the details. But we dug into it, and I think we call you and ask
maybe
you.
She bought a HOA foreclosure. That's the same thing happened to one guy. So I had a guy that he called me up and said, "Hey, I want to go through your course." So I explained to him, give the price, and gave him a bunch of information in 1 hour, and he thought he could do this, right? So 5 months later, he called me up. I said, "Marcos, you're full of crap. I bought this property at auction at Palm Beach County, and they stole my money." I was like, "I'm gonna sue the county." So wait, what happened? So I bought this townhouse for $20,000. I put another $20,000 into to remodel it, to fix it. I put it in the market for 120, and 15 days out of the market, I got a letter from Bank of America saying that I'm trying to sell a property that's not mine. And I gave the county $20,000. Okay, let's back up for a second. So we went over. It turns down that when he went to the website, instead of being part of the tax deed auction, which is Palm Beach's online, he was part of the HOA auction, and he bought a HOA rights and not a tax deed rights. So when you buy a tax deed, the tax deed auction, because it's the county who's foreclosing on it, in American law is basically English common law, the king and the queen has to get paid first. We don't have queen and king here, but we have
Counties.
the county. Everything that's below the county gets wiped out. So the mortgage gets wiped out. HOA gets wiped out. Everything else gets wiped out. When you buy a HOA lien,
Everything remains.
everything remains, even the mortgage and even the taxes. So he didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he thought he was doing one thing, but turns down it was another.
All right, so let's recap a little bit, and because we've been all over the place. What does your team for Airbnb look like? Because I know you have a team backing you up. Maybe virtual assistants or.
So let me take a step back. So the story about Airbnb is I decided to get into the business model. I launched my first one. 2 months later, I launched my second one, and 3 weeks later, after I launched my second one, I opened 2 properties at the same time. Then I crashed and burned.
Okay.
Because it was more work that I could handle.
Right.
Messages 24/7, coordinating cleaning. I didn't have no experience, and then I was like, nah, this is a good money. I'm cashing flowing $1,000 to $1,500 per property, but I want a passive income.
Yeah.
Passive income means something that I have to work less than 4 hours a week to make that money.
Right.
If people think that passive income you do nothing, you're wrong.
No.
Right? You're wrong. You gotta do some work. So, true story. I took a couple of Adderalls. Do you remember your college times?
No,
I took a couple of.
But
Adderalls.
I know what Adderall is, but I've never taken that.
I took a couple of Adderalls.
What are those? I don't know what you're talking about.
They get you pretty freaking hyped up.
Yeah, they get you hyped up,
Oh.
and it's to get you focused, right? Yeah. If you have ADD, whatever they call
ADHD. Yeah.
So it keeps you focused. So I took a couple of those, and I locked myself up in my office for 48 hours, and I figured this out. I started asking myself the hard questions. How can I scale this? How can I only work? How can I do this 95% hands off? Right? So then how can I do the check-in and check-out without being there? How can I systematize the manuals? How can I systematize, replacing in all the toiletries and all this stuff? So I start asking all those questions, and I come up with a methodology, right? So it's 8 steps, and I start applying that. So let me test it. So I tested, and I was able to manage 25 Airbnbs. I'm very busy myself. I teach tax liens and tax deeds in 4 different countries, right? 3 different languages. I'm all over doing content, social media, traveling, and all that. I was able to manage 25 Airbnbs myself. It only took 7 hours a week of my time.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how my team looks like with 60 properties, I have 3 VAs. They work 24/7. Shifts, and I have 1 Airbnb manager.
So you really have 6 VAs because it's 3 and 3.
No.
If they're doing shift.
3, each one doing 8 hours.
Oh, each one doing 8
8
hours. Okay, gotcha.
Right? And I have a 4th one that kind of covers, weekends and
In
all
between,
that.
yeah.
Then I have 1 Airbnb manager, and her role is to manage the VAs, make sure the VAs do all the stuff that they need to do, and also to locate new properties. So right now, I'm launching 4 to 7 Airbnbs every month, new properties, right?
Okay.
And my Airbnb manager, on the times that she's not managing the VAs, she's actually launching new units,
Okay.
locating the properties and all that. And then we start the VAs, babe steps, right? To teach them just to answer the message first. Then after that, we teach them how to coordinate and manage the cleaning crews and maintenance. And now we get them to a point that they're so good in what they're doing because we keep finding ways to systematize that. Then now on the spare time, they're actually searching for new properties. So now I'm able to do this Airbnb stuff 100% hands off.
That's
I'm
good.
not even. I have Airbnbs right now that's been 12 months. We've been making money. I didn't even know where they're at. Right? So on Friday when I get my report, I will find out the Airbnbs that we launched last week because I didn't even know where they're at.
Good.
That's how I was able to systematize it.
That's good. And on tax deeds and tax liens, is it different? A different structure, different platform? Is it just you? How?
No, so it's the same thing. So we did a really big project in Detroit, right? We've been working in Detroit for the past a year and a half, and it was funny because it was a big challenge for me, especially on the level of the game that I'm doing. So there was 5,000 properties that's going to auction, and we had 3 weeks to prepare. And I never done that many due diligence in 5,000 properties. So I looked at my friend of mine. He's my right arm. I cannot even put a spreadsheet together. So he's an engineer. He doesn't know how to create the process. He doesn't know what goes into the process. I tell him how to do it, and he organizes it, right? So as I look at Guy, I said, Guy, let's do this. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's figure it out. So we basically built the plan as the plane was taking off. So we went to Detroit. We've never been there. And we were able to research 5,000 properties, including pictures and everything, in 3 weeks. So from 5,000 properties, we narrowed down to 800, from 800 to 400, 400 to 200, and we bought 100 some properties out of the 200, and it was a big learning curve. So for that project specifically, we hire 15 photographers. We also hire 15 VAs. And then we systematize, we chop down each step of the 8 due diligence step, and each VA was doing one step.
So
and then
you separated on teams.
So
and
we did like assembly line kind of thing, and we were able to move it. We got the rhythm, and it's beautiful. So my team for tax liens and tax deeds, it varies depending on the amount of capital that I have available to play in the next auction.
Okay, fair enough. Good. So, so what's next for you? Where do you go from here?
Good question. So my goal for 2020, I want to make $1 million.
Okay.
Right. So
that's net. That's
net.
not because you've already got the revenue. So.
Yes. So we want to make $1 million net just on the tax lien tax deed side.
Mm-hmm.
And for that we are working. We are on the works to open up a fund, investment fund.
Okay.
So to me, it's a big challenge. I never thought I could have run a fund before. So we got some good contacts. So we're working on that and see how that's going to look like. Because the operational side, we already have that figured out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just need the cash.
Yeah, but now we want to do a different structure, which is
so business keeps evolving, basically.
Yes, the business keeps evolving, and I want to hit at least my goal for Airbnb in the next 24 months is to hit $5 million in revenue.
In Airbnb?
Just in Airbnb alone.
Okay.
Yeah, $5 million in revenue in the next 24 months. That's because I saw in 2017, before I started an Airbnb business, I saw a post from a guy in London. He did $15 million on Airbnb.
Well,
that's what inspired.
But London is very expensive too, right? So maybe the rates are higher, or
Yeah. So, but it turned out I did some research. He had like 785 listings in London.
Holy.
Jesus,
where is it? Where's it gonna? I mean, is Airbnb gonna keep going and going and going and never stop growing? And I mean, isn't there a point where it's gonna be saturated with Airbnbs in a city or
even the hotels are getting an Airbnb.
I'll tell you what's happening in that space. Okay, so clearly we're not launching enough properties to sustain the Airbnb growth. Airbnb by 2022, they want to make $10 billion. They did $2 billion last year. Okay, they want to get to $10 billion.
They see
they want to get to 10
5
billion.
times what they have today.
Yeah. So Goldman Sachs ran a survey 5 months ago, and they figured out that everybody that used 85% of people that use Airbnb for the first time will most likely use Airbnb again.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. So if you, I don't know if you ever use Airbnb or not,
yes,
but if you use Airbnb, you have the right experience, you never go back to a hotel. Because a hotel, it doesn't matter how luxurious it is, it's always the same experience. It's a bed, a TV on the wall, and a bathroom. Right?
But I
now,
like the breakfast.
Yes. So now hotels, they're getting creative. They're coming up with lofts and 1-bedroom apartments because they know that's what the travelers want, right? I don't like to stay in the hotels because I hate to bring dirty laundry back home. And I travel a lot, right? I like to cook my own food. And if you travel with a family, even if you have a free breakfast, you're going to spend a lot of money on dinner and lunch. Where if you have an Airbnb, it's a secondary home, you can cook your own stuff, right? So it's a different experience. That's where it's going. So Airbnb right now has some projects. In Miami, right in front of the American Airlines Arena, they're building a building there. I think it's a 35-story high. Airbnb owns half of the building. And you can buy the other half for $400,000 and launch your own Airbnb. To me, that's stupid. Because first of all, if I have $400,000, I can rent 40 properties and make 40 times the cash flow that I have in one unit. And why in the world I'm going to have an Airbnb in a building that's 35 floors of an Airbnb and I'm competing with the Airbnb?
Yeah, whoever is buying that unit is because they have excess cash. They want to bank on appreciation.
Yes. It doesn't make sense to me as the model, right?
Right.
As far as the saturation, what's going to happen is here's how the Airbnb market's going to level itself out.
But okay, let's take a step back.
Okay.
What's going to be different from that Airbnb building than the Hilton Hotel next door?
Well, the hotels, they're going to have to evolve.
They have to catch up.
And they're already evolving. I don't know how fast they're going to do it, but they're already evolving, right? So if you think about it, back in the days, you had Booking, Expedia, and all those travel websites. They only dealing with hotels. So guess what? Now, they're listing your own homes.
No,
that's one thing.
But I don't know if you understood my question.
But the other aspect is this. Hotels are already dedicating entire floors to listing on Airbnb. I haven't been to listings that I booked on an Airbnb. When I got there, it's a Marriott.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you understood my question. Let's say down there in Miami, there's the new Airbnb building, right? And I'm pretty sure next to it or very close, there's a Marriott hotel.
Yes.
What is the difference? Me as a consumer, what's the difference between
experience.
They are experience, and the Marriott hotel.
One has a maid that does my bed every day, and the other one doesn't.
But here's the thing, though: it's a different experience.
How?
Have you been to Disney World?
Yes.
You have the high touch and you have the high tech. What is the difference between Universal and Disney? Disney is a high touch. You go there, it plays with your emotions. It's a different experience. Universal is a high tech. You don't have the same emotions on Universal that you see at Disney. I see grown men crying when they see Mickey. I don't see anybody crying at Universal when they see Hulk, right? So the difference is the experience. So on the Marriott right now, today, let's take the business model. Today. You go to a Marriott, you have a concierge.
Yes.
You go to your own room, it's 130 square feet. You have a bed, a TV on the wall, and a bathroom.
Yes.
That's it. That's your experience. Have you ever tried to stay inside of a hotel for 24 hours? You go crazy.
Well, we did in Vegas.
Right?
No, but
Vegas is different, right? But it's like that the experience. Versus across the street, you have, I'll tell you what, Woodlands, One Lake's Edge, Hughes Landing. There's a high luxury, high rise there.
I know.
I had 5 Airbnbs there, right? I rent 1-bedroom apartment, 850 square feet. Downstairs you have the gym, you have amazing pool, we have Starbucks coffee machine, you have kayaks that you can take in the Woodlands lake and all that. And across the street, that's Embassy Suite. Embassy Suite is offering a room there, 130 square feet for $170. You can stay in a 1-bedroom apartment for $130 a night that feels like your secondary home because there's a living room, there's a TV, you know what I mean? There's a stove that you can cook your own food. You can actually do your own laundry, right? And there's Embassy Suite. It charges from $170 to $350 a night.
For a bed, a toilet, and a shower.
That's it. It's
That's
a
the
different
difference.
experience. I stay in hotels when I'm traveling. That's the only condition. Sometimes I stay in hotels if I'm going to spend only one night at that town. Because once I added up the cleaning fees and all this stuff, it doesn't make sense for me to stay in an Airbnb than in a hotel.
Night. Okay.
But if I travel more than one day, or if I travel with my family, you bet I'm going to stay in Airbnb because it's a better experience and makes economical sense.
Yeah, so I'm going to LA next week, right? But the only reason I'm staying at the hotel is because the conference is at the hotel, and really I don't feel like commuting back and forth to the Airbnb, especially when I know the conference starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it ends at 9 p.m. So I just want to wake up and go downstairs and I'm there. But I get what you're saying, because once you get to your room, it's like 4 walls and
you basically you want to go to a room to sleep.
Yeah, I just want to go to sleep.
That's it.
That's it.
Right? But if you but remember, so think people about Airbnb, it's just about traveling for tourism. You're not. A lot of people work from home now. A lot of people are entrepreneurs. They do, homework and all this stuff. And, it's a better experience.
No, I remember when we went to Austin for the Formula One race, right? So
But we were a group. You cannot rent, like, if it's 5 people or 6 people traveling, you cannot go to the Marriott and say, give me 6 consecutive rooms and have that experience of being together.
And we're never going to be together because everybody's going to be separated.
Exactly. I get it. But when I'm traveling solo, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but maybe I like coming to the hotel and the bed is done
you're only going
and
to
it's
sleep.
clean. Exactly.
You're only going to sleep.
And I don't want to go
but guess what?
Solo to go to a place and cook. I want to go to the restaurants and see what I'm saying? To me, it makes sense when I'm traveling solo. To me, it makes sense to go to a hotel.
Because of guys like you, that the hotels hasn't gone bankrupt yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Because of guys like you, the hotel hasn't gone bankrupt yet.
Okay.
But let me ask a question. Let's say you're going to go at the Woodlands and you have an 800 square feet apartment, 1 bedroom, for $130 a night. And you have right next door Embassy Suite for $190 a night. Which one would you pick?
No, I'll take the apartment all day long.
Even if you're never going to make your bed and you're going to come back, the bed is going to be the same, right?
No, I'll take the apartment. Plus,
that's what I'm saying.
You have the same restaurants around it, You're still going to, whatever you're going, you're either going to Uber or Lyft or take a taxi or whatnot to the next destination. So I see the value in the Airbnb.
No, of course there's a value. If not, it wouldn't grow. But as a consumer, I don't know. Maybe I'm
that's
different.
why the hotels right now they're taking entire floors and changing the layout of the rooms. You go to hotels right now, they might gonna have a small living room, everything's separate. They might gonna have a 2, burner
I'll
stove.
give you another example. So I know on the Airbnb, while I'm there, not a single stranger is gonna go in that house.
That's another thing too.
Okay, in the hotel, there's going to be cleaning crews going in and out. So you always run the chance of they're stealing, I don't know. I travel with watches, so, I got to make sure they're locked up or something. In the Airbnb, nobody's going to mess with that because there's nobody coming in unless I call for help.
Yes.
Hey, something happened. I need some people here, right? So even from a security point of view, just simple things as leaving your laptop. You leave your laptop out at the hotel, it can walk away. And then you have to prove that you had the laptop there in order for them to some sort of compensate you. So even from protecting security, I'd rather stay at an Airbnb than stay at a hotel.
And I have a lot of friends that travel, and I ask everybody this question. Once they go through Airbnb, if it is a good experience, right? Would you stay in Airbnb instead of a hotel? Everybody, 9 out of 10 says, when I travel, I start my searching on Airbnb first. Hotel is secondary.
Yeah, and I've seen hotels coming down on pricing thanks to Airbnb.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have no other choice. They have to. That's a change. Like, think about this. 7 years ago, you land in LA and you need to go someplace. What would you do?
Take a cab.
Take a cab. You go to LA now, cab doesn't even compute in your head anymore.
Right.
Yeah, Uber or Lyft.
You say, I'm going to get an Uber, even though you're going to call Lyft.
Yeah. Yeah, you call. Yeah, I get it.
Hey, I'm going to Uber, but you're calling Lyft.
Yeah, Uber became a verb.
Became a verb. So you don't even. Why you don't think about cabs anymore? They're still there. Sometimes the cab is even cheaper than the Uber ride, but it's so embedded in your pattern, in your nerve system, that you don't even conceive and think about it anymore. That's what's going to happen with Airbnb. If the hotels don't up the game and offer a better price and a better experience, people will not even think about hotels anymore. They're going to think, I'm going to get an Airbnb.
So, in your opinion, it's still not late to get into the Airbnb game?
No, it's never late, and I'll tell you why. You still, watch this. 85% of Airbnb hosts only have 3 properties because they haven't figured out the system to scale. And they're still coming to the marketplace as an Airbnb. We have 2 million listings, 2.5 million listings on Airbnb, right now. A lot of people are coming to Airbnb. 85% of people are coming to Airbnb with the mindset that I just want to make extra money. Oh, I have this secondary home that's there. It's not making any money. It's cost me money. I'm gonna Airbnb that.
Yeah, like the one in
and they take everything that doesn't fit in their home and throw in that Airbnb,
right?
And hope it can fly. Used to be that, when Airbnb started, that's what it used to be. You would not care about the quality or the experience because you're there because of the price. I'm gonna Airbnb because it's cheaper than a hotel, and I don't care that the bed is falling off or you not care.
It's cheap.
That's how Airbnb started. Now, it's all about experience. When I go to a market and there's already 40 Airbnbs there, do you think I care? I'll tell you why I don't care. Because my goal is not even to figure out the prices. If the numbers works, my next goal is to see what kind of product has been offered on that market.
Yeah.
What kind of experience. And as long as I provide the best experience for the same price, my Airbnb is going to get booked first. So which means is, if it's a property that has a buy score of 7 and above, you bet my Airbnb is going to offer you a buy score. If everybody else internet speed is a 20 because they want to save money, my speed is going to be 100. If everybody has a 32-inch TV, mine's going to have 50. And mine's going to provide something that nobody's going to find in the other Airbnbs, because when you search it, I want to look for the number one, for the 20% of people. That's why airplanes has first class.
Yeah, you're applying the basic simple principle of you're doing what others are not willing to do in order to get what you want.
That's it. So once I get my I can only book that place for 30 days.
That's the golden nugget for today. So, man, you better be taking notes down, because Marcus is just dropping knowledge here.
So let's say if I go to the Woodlands, and the Woodlands has 40 Airbnbs, and let's say that has 1,000 reservations that's being booked in the Woodlands market right now, between all those 40 Airbnbs, which means all the 40 Airbnbs are competing for 1,000 reservations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When I open up another Airbnb, I'm not creating a new market share. I'm competing for the same 1,000 reservations.
Exactly.
My goal is, how can I get the first 30 nights to myself, and
then
let
leave
you guys decide it.
Figure it out.
Then now you're gonna have to drop the price to compete against him because you guys offer a lousy, experience or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why if I go to a place that has 40 Airbnbs, that's the first indication I gotta be there, because there's a demand. If it wasn't a demand, it wouldn't be 40, it would be 5. And I'm not scared. I'm not going to say...
What about places that don't have a bunch of Airbnbs?
Well,
or don't have any.
Or don't have any.
Well, when you apply the Burger King effect, which is every time there's a McDonald's, you notice there's a Burger King across the street. That's because McDonald's not in a real estate, not in a burger business. McDonald's in a real estate business, right? And McDonald's outspend Burger King 5 times in marketing. So every time a McDonald's opens a store, a Burger King goes right across the street, right? So in our space, the McDonald's is the hotels. As long as there's a hotel in that area and you open the Airbnb of 4 to 5 miles from that hotel, you're always going to get booked. I give an example. So I had early on when I first started testing my methodology, right? So I apply myself, then I got a group of people, taught them the methodology, and test the results, right? So I have this realtor from North Carolina. She lived 45 minutes outside. Charlotte. She lived 45 minutes in Charlotte. She's a realtor. She had a house that she picked up on a subject to or something, and she was trying to rent the house for $1,700 and was on the market for 6 months. In the middle of nowhere, nothing around. So she took my course and said, Marcos, I'm going to try this house because I already have it. So she did it, and it shocked me and shocked her even more because she knew the market better than I did. That in the first month, she did $2,300 on Airbnb, and the second month, $3,700.
Wow.
So she was getting almost 2.5 times the rent.
And she was probably the only one there.
And she was in the middle of nowhere, and she was probably the only one there.
Yeah. Take notes down, guys. Marcos, thank you so much, man, for coming in, brother.
It's a pleasure.
We appreciate
you. Times go by so fast.
You always blow my mind, Marcos.
Yeah, Marcos is the real deal, guys. So if you are watching or listening to this episode, make sure you connect with him, marcosjacober.com.
Or Did Hunter on Instagram.
Did Hunter on Instagram. He's definitely got a ton of value when it comes to tax deeds, tax liens, and airbtheboss. And if you have any questions, find him on Facebook. Look at his RV. He's actually traveling all over the country on his RV, buying houses in every other county out there.
If you see my RV, stop me. I want to give you a hug.
Yeah, and take pictures and say, hey, man, I saw you on the Renovating Riches Radio podcast. Anyways, don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
All right.